Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Tuesday night. It's 7:30, so you should know by now what that means. Tuesday night live stream. Here we are again. Once again, fingers crossed we don't destroy the internet again. So here we are. Hopefully, we can get through one episode without a technical glitch. So we'll see what happens this week. Um, like usual, I'll go ahead and start with the normal pools for the week. Get into some of my auction winnings and that stuff. Show some horror comic books since it's October. But first, I want to get into the chat because I already have a question even before I activated the chat, which I knew it was going to come up. Figured we have to talk about for a second. So, a poor man's comics. He was first in the chat, and he asked, "Seawood, all caps, thoughts on Roman Reigns." So, if you guys aren't wrestling fans, I'm sorry. I kind of usually, if I talk about wrestling, I try to save it toward the very end. That way, at least the comic fans can look at the books and then chime out at the end. Why everybody else stays that likes both. But anyway, Roman Reigns, main event WWE star. If you don't know who he is, the WWE Universal Champion. He's been diagnosed once again with leukemia. So obviously that means he's gonna have to step away from the ring and take care of, his life basically. I've never been a huge Roman Reigns fan, but you hate to see that happen to anybody, obviously. I always thought he was a solid hand in the ring. He works that, the WWE style extremely well. Like I said, I just never was a fan of his character, but his in-ring work I always thought was very good. He always did great in the pay-per-views, but yeah, it absolutely sucks. Especially they need Roman really bad right now with the John Cena stepping aside and DX and the Brothers of Destruction. They're going to have their last hurrah, but then they're going to step away probably after Mania. So long-term plans for WWE, they got to be really scattering right now. So that's my thoughts, poor man's, very quickly on the Roman Reigns situation. It absolutely sucks to put it, bluntly. And then JD says it's sad and he doesn't even watch wrestling. So what's up, poor man's? What's up, JD? Glad you guys could make it. Also have Sam's Tangled Web. What's going on, man? We got TJ Watson in the chat. What's going on, TJ? Glad you could make it. Airborne Sapper Comic Fan. He says, what's going on? Glad he's here. Genome Presents. He says, our streamer tonight is going to shock the world. I give you the shock, master. Oh, he fell right on his ass. Genome always bringing in the Shockmaster references. I guess when it comes to botching, I guess I'm really good at botching live streams. So we also got Ruben Neves. What's going on, Ruben? Glad you could make it once again, man. It's good to see you. And we got Comics with Bueller. He says he's sad about Roman too. Absolutely. And then the Gray Man. What's going on, Gray Man? I saw his the JPL Comics Flash Geekdom stream earlier. Had the Gray Man feature as a guest. It was very awesome. I like catching his live stream about every Tuesday at 3:30 my time. So I always recommend their channel. It's on JPL's channel. Absolutely recommend that. And then we got Stay Puff 1983. What is going on, man? One of the best Instagrammers out there. If you guys like seeing comics, horror movies, and that type of stuff, absolutely check out Stay Puff 1983. And the Gray Man is sad about Macho Man, which, yeah, that's been a while, but yeah, it's still sad. And then Simon Comics just hopped in. What is going on, Simon Comics? I think he just put up a video right before I went live. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet because I've been reading and trying to do my homework for the stream tonight, basically. So with that being said, we'll just go ahead and get into this week's pulls. My first one actually comes from an antique shop. I was coming back from my local shop, decided why not stop by the antique store. I had the day off. And I did find one thing. It was a little bit more than I'd usually pay, but I think $9 for this book. But it was in immaculate condition. So this is Daredevil 45. I believe this is a Stan Lee story and Gene Colan art and cover. It's that cool one with the Statue of Liberty photo in the background. And then you got the art draw kind of placed on top of it. But yeah, this thing, I was shocked how like clean and nice for a 12-cent comic this copy of Daredevil was. So like I said, usually I don't like to pay $9 for, comics I'm not really looking for, I guess you could put it that way. But just the fact that this thing, it's a very clean 12-cent copy, which this might be one of the nicest, mintiest comics I found for a while from this time period. So absolutely happy with that. Thought it was well worth the $9. So that was my one antique shop find. So also got, of course, I finally made it to my shop today to get last week's stuff. So this, I just had to sit down and read it all today. But first, they did have, speaking of the horror season in October, and everybody likes their scary movies and stuff. I did find this copy of Walking Dead issue 108. The first Ezekiel and his tiger. I'll be honest, I kind of checked out of Walking Dead at this point. Obviously, that's why I bought this, because I didn't have it already. They only charged $4 for this, so I was shocked, because usually this comic they charge double digits for all day. So I think they just got a huge Walking Dead lot in today, and they're just trying to move it in and move it out as quick as they possibly could. Like the whole like pre-Negan run on up, that was just all gone. Like 92 through about 100. Someone bought those up real quick. And then the stuff before that, they had some reasonably priced stuff, but I already have it all, so I wasn't going to spend $10, $15 on doubles that I already had and didn't need. So this is probably like one of the last keys I needed for, besides the whole first 30. They didn't have any of those, obviously. But thrilled to find this for $4. Figured why not. And then for stuff that actually came out last week, I bought these first two on, kind of a recommendation from Comic Core Chad. He was talking about it, I think, last week's Comic Core. So I bought Green Lantern 56, which is an awesome Mike Perkins foil cover right there. And then I also picked up Green Lantern 57 because they had both. Figured why not, or I guess Green Lanterns. So shows you how much I've been actually reading this title. I checked out a Green Lantern after Johns' run ended. I didn't hear a lot of great feedback on the Robert Venditti run. So I was just, Chad was talking about Cyborg Superman being the villain in this, and then I didn't realize it until I, opened up the page, but the creative team on this is Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins, which I really like both of those guys. So I might have to go hunt down 50 through 55 if they did those issues. So basically in these two, somehow Cyborg Superman, it appears, like I said, I think this is part 7 and part 8 of an arc. I haven't read 1 through 6. But it looks like Cyborg Superman has this like souped up lantern ring, and he has control of all of the lantern powers, basically. So he has like the whole light spectrum at his disposal. So yeah, he's basically going back to Coast City by this issue, as you can see, just to stick it to Hal Jordan. So this is a really cool issue. This wasn't too bad either, but I spent half of it just trying to figure out what was going on, because like I said, I hadn't been actively reading this title, but I still enjoyed myself reading these two issues. So I might have to hunt down the whole arc, go give that a read, because I was very happy with that. Next up, Justice League 10. They're getting ready to do this whole like Atlantis thing. I was a little bit lost in this one too. I don't know if I needed to read Aquaman before this, which I haven't been. This is all right. I really like Francis Manapul and his art in this. So at least they got him on the art. But in terms of story, I'll have to see how it develops. So far, I wasn't too thrilled with this issue. I got to be honest. So we'll see where the whole Earth flooding storyline goes. So I thought it was really funny. Like Batman's basically Oracle in this, but he's wearing like the most uncomfortable like robot suit where he doesn't even look like he can move his head. Like it's ridiculous. But besides that, the art was really nice in there. I do usually like Francis Manapul. Next up, we got, I forgot to buy this on Walking Dead Day, and my store had one copy left. So I was like, figured why not? We're talking about horror comics tonight. You got to kind of start with the Walking Dead issue 1. This is the, Walking Dead Day variant, all that good stuff. So I just thought it was cool on the covers, like that you can see like all the image titles and the Robert Kirkman stuff like flying through the air there. So you got like Outcast, there's a Detective Comics on the ground and a Daredevil. Of course, Oblivion songs in there. I'm sure if you look close, then Die Die Dies in there. So I had to get that because why not? It's Walking Dead. It's an issue 1. I got like 20 copies of it that aren't the original, so why not add one more? Next up, I got the Venom Annual #1. This one wasn't too bad, actually. You get some nice Ron Lim art, which I think he killed it on the art in here, but according, the exception of the other 2 artists who I can't remember, but they didn't do too much for me. And the first story, the Black Cat story, was from Donny Cates. So basically in this one, you just get like 3 short stories. One is Black Cat's encounter with Venom. The next one is like a bartender telling about a fight Venom had with Wolverine. And the third one was, I believe, Juggernaut. That last one I kind of just skipped through because it wasn't doing too much for me. But you guys kind of know how Marvel annuals go at this point. They're not essential reading; they're just kind of fun. But $5, whew, I don't know if I'd buy this again for $5. But hey, if you're a Venom completionist for the case run, I guess you got to have it. And lastly, I got Skyward #7. This book continues to be, one of my favorites that hit the stands. This one we kind of figure out like there's like a farmer that like can fly moths. It's pretty awesome just because the book has no gravity, so bugs are like getting bigger and bigger in their world they got going on here. So just taking a train somewhere and getting attacked by bugs is a life-threatening event, which they dedicated this whole issue to. So pretty solid read. All right, so before I get into the next stack, let's go ahead and get back into the chat because you guys have been blowing it up over there and I've just been running my mouth. All right, let's see. We've got Comic Core says best show on Tuesday nights. Thank you, Chad from Comic Core. Appreciate that. Let's see. Simon Comic says it's good. I have some videos scheduled for the next 2 weeks. That's cool, man. That's awesome. I'll definitely have to check those out. Looks like we got Bake the Snake. He says, hey, gang, what's up? Glad you could make it. Bake the Snake. Let's see. I think, yeah, Ruben says it's a great book. Check it out. I think he was saying did need to read the Aquaman first for the Justice League, so I'll have to seek out the Aquaman. So thank you for that, Ruben. I was wondering if I had to check that out. Looks like we got Prowler 671. What's going on, Prowler? How's it going, man? Who Dat Comics and Movies. I watched his live stream yesterday, so guys need to check that out on the rewind. He got some nice stacks of books himself. So what's going on, Who Dat? Spidey fans in the chat. What's going on, Spidey fan? He says, good evening. Poke Cerberus the first. He says, Prowler, Who Dat, JD, Gray Man. Everyone's saying hi to each other. I believe Pope C just got himself finally a Green Lantern 87. First appearance of John Stewart. So big congratulations to Pope Cerberus the first. I know he's been looking for that book for a long time, so I don't have to rub my CGC copy in his face anymore. Maybe he'll get a better one back. We'll see. We got Contender. There you go, Contender. That fist is for you. Glad you can make the chat, man. All right, and then Jason Smith just popped in, so you know what that means. There we go. What's going on, Jason? Hopefully your new job's going well. All right. So my next topic is I got an auction win. I believe this one was from JP / All About Comics auction. I got this auction lot from Tacoma Comics. I think I only paid like $20 shipped for this, which was a steal for what I got, in my opinion. Because around here, this is a Chew lot. I'm slowly starting to see Chew comics pop up in dollar bins, but they don't pop up that often. So let's go ahead and get into the books. I'll let you guys be the judge if this was worth it. I think I got a steal of a deal on this. So we'll start from the bottom. I got another copy of Chew number 60. I think this is one of the few Chew comics I actually have an individual issue because the way I read this, I have 6 hardcovers sitting over there. That's the way I read it. So there's 60. Very cool conclusion of the series, but it leaves you on a cliffhanger. So they had to end the series on a cliffhanger. So still kind of drives me nuts a little bit to this day. Next up, we got issue 40. Shows off Tony Chew's fake ear there. Always gray and gross and all that stuff. He has it for pretty much the whole series. We've got issue 38. Looks like Mason Savoy's in a Hannibal Lecter type prison there. Next up, we got 19 with Tony and his sister. And then we've got, this is where it starts to get pretty good. So the main reason I wanted this lot, he had a lot from the first 10. I'd like to at least get the first 10 issues of Chew. So he threw in a Chew number 8, which he's looking for Pollo. Well, if you guys haven't read Chew, Pollo is one of the coolest, awesome, most awesome characters in that. Most fun. So who doesn't love him? Some Pollo. We got an issue 6. Or I'm sorry, actually, I'll show issue 7 first. So there's an issue 7. There you go. Issue 7. Got an issue number 6. Issue number 4. And then lastly, luckily I had issue 3 from a deal I got with, I think, Who Dat Comics and Movies like way back when. And then I got an issue 2, which I thought this comic alone was worth the entire lot because I never thought I'd get at least an issue 2. So now I just kind of need an issue 1 and then a couple other issues to complete that first run of 10. and that's the ones I'd like to collect in the Chew run. So at least very happy to finally get an issue 2 in a lot, or I basically paid like $2 a comic. So thank you once again, Tacoma Comics. Absolutely awesome deal. Can't believe no one else bid on that. It actually had some good views on that auction too, so I was surprised. I got that for a heck of a deal. All right, so before I get back into the chat, I want to go over my YouTuber of the week. His name is Whitewell Comics. I put a description in the link below for his latest video, which I think is either yesterday or today he released it. I'm new to his channel, so I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of his videos, but he did a really awesome video this week, kind of highlighting the art of Jock, where he actually like went over his Batman run and searched the internet and found like the original drawings from that run. So if you guys, at the very least, if you like Jock's art like I do, check out Whitewell Comics and his analysis video of Jock's art. It's some top-notch quality video making there. So great job, Whitewell Comics. Hopefully you guys check him out. He only has like 140 some subscribers, I think. So please go ahead and check him out, sub him up. He did great work on that. But speaking of great subscribers, I want to get back to the chat. Let's see what we got. We have to scroll up. It's getting to the point where I got to figure out how to save my spot here. Looks like we got Count Von Strange the Fourth. He says, "What's going on? How's it going, Count? Glad you could make it." Jason Smith says his new job is the bee's knees. TJ Watson says, "Got bite by a spider yesterday. Still pissed and no superpowers yet." Sorry to hear that, TJ, and you might need to go to the doctor if that doesn't heal up. So take care of yourself, TJ. Stay Puff 1983 says, "Need to read Chew." Yes, you do. At least get the first trade. It's probably like $10 or something like that. See what you think, because honestly, Chew's not for everybody, but it's just for me, to be honest. So I really, really like Chew. So please check it out. I can't recommend that series enough. So everyone's saying hi to each other. Spike Fan says, "Can you do an unboxing vid for me?" Not sure. Oh, okay. He's probably talking about someone who won his contest, perhaps. We got Jam Sessions in the house. What's going on, Jam Sessions? He goes, "What's up, C Wood?" So thank you for that. And I lost my place because I scrolled down. Poor Man's Comics is back. He says, "What up?" Spidey Fan says, "Do you have a spare Chew issue 7 or 19? Not, unfortunately, not, Spidey Fan. Every single thing. The only thing that's a spare for me in this lot was 60. So I know those things pop up in 50-cent and dollar bins. So, but if I'll keep an eye out. Like I said, I buy like almost every Chew copy I find. Unfortunately, there's not a lot out there, like I said. So, and Bake the Snake says he loves Whitewell stuff. So absolutely agree. Pope Service first says Jock bid was awesome on Whale. So I'm glad you guys have had a chance to see that and check it out and vouch for his video. Stay Puff says, "I have the $1 Chew issue #1. Yeah, I think I actually gave that away in my contest. The Image First or whatever that whole line is called. So Jam Sessions says he just subbed up Whitewell. So thank you for that, Jam Sessions. And we got Brett Hess. He says, "What's going on? Go Hawks." So, yep, Blackhawks hockey season is upon us. Maybe I'll finally actually get to catch a hockey game this year. It seems like with work and everything, I never get a chance to watch any hockey. I'm not going to pretend to be the world's biggest hockey fan, but it is a lot of fun to catch those games when you can. JD says this week, not too big. New comic day, so look out for the hidden gems. And then Poor Man says the Ball and Chain Club. All right. So when weeks aren't too big, I like to go to Half Price Books. As usual, I almost go there more than my local shop now because they just keep piling in these 20-cent comics for whatever reason. I think basically if they get a comic and it's not in a bag, they don't want to waste a bag and a board, so they'll just throw it in a 20-cent bin. I'm not saying I got like tons of cool finds this week in the 20-cent bins, but I got a couple. So this week in the 20 centers, this one's for Comic Or Chad. Got his Superboy Annual #1 from 1994. I couldn't find a bag and board big enough right before I started the live stream, but I'll bag and board this obviously. But one of my favorite all-time annuals. Like I said, the Venom annual earlier didn't do a heck of a lot for me, but this is one of my all-time favorite annual comics, I guess, if you could put it that way. This is actually part 2 of 2 of a storyline that started, I believe, Adventures of Superman Annual #6. Also, like probably like a month prior to this, it came out. It's an Elseworlds storyline. So, also my favorite Elseworlds comic is this. And as you guys know, with the CW crossover this year, it's going to be all about Elseworlds, so we'll see how far and deep they get into the Elseworlds concept. But in this one, aliens have invaded the DC universe, and they're very powerful aliens to the point where they're just prejudiced against metahumans, basically. So the metas of the DC universe in this Elseworld, they don't stand a chance against these aliens. So in like one fell swoop, the aliens just show up and just annihilate everything in their path. So pretty much the people you see on this cover are the only superheroes left in this DC universe. The reason they've been kind of laying low too is because the aliens, like I said, they don't like metahumans, but they made a peace treaty with the humans saying like, we will not like kill and destroy Earth as long as your metahumans don't exist, basically. So Superman's pretty much given up being Superman. I think the only people kind of left being superheroes are kind of Batman, because obviously he lurks in the shadows. He's not going to get caught. Hal's kind of just with Jimmy Olsen, I believe, as part of an underground society. And then really Wally West is the Flash in this one. He can't really do much because he has no legs. So one of the first things they did when they show up, they cut off the Flash's legs. So very fascinating read. A lot of the heroes on this cover don't make it to the end of this annual. So I know Chad is a huge fan. This is written by Carl Kessel, who was a big-time Superman writer in the 90s. So one of those, in my opinion, very hidden gems out there. And it was 20 cents. So if you guys want to read this, check out your 20-cent, dollar, 50-cent bins, what have you. Next up, I found a Guardians Team Up Avengers #1. Figured why not get this? I think I already have a copy of this. This is the first, was it Marvel Collector Corps? This was their first variant cover they released as a part of the Marvel Collector Corps Funko Pop box. I'll say that 10 times fast, I guess. So I figured why not pick up a 20-cent copy? Just a nice variant that not too many people collect or know about, I don't think. Next up, and I think this is my last 20-cent find. Like I said, I didn't go too crazy into going into the 20-cent bins, even though they're multiplying. It's just a lot of the typical 90s Valiant and Image that you'll find, non-newsstand, of course. The last one I got was Daredevil issue 6 from the Charles Soule run. Had to get it just for this awesome Electra Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Thought that was really cool. I think this is just a normal cover too. I thought for a second it might be a variant because usually the Sienkiewicz stuff anymore seems to be the cover B's through Marvel, but I just thought that was a beautiful cover, so I picked it up. So thought that was great. Before I get into the dollar finds, I'll go back to the chat, see what's going on. Let's see what we got. Contender says TJ, I bet a detective who eats things. Basically, it's the life cycle of it. Okay. Let's see. TJ says the WW series is outstanding. Spidey fan says, someone say, Jock, I need to check it. Yeah, absolutely, Spidey fan. You would love that video, man. Like I said, he goes over like the actual art that Jock did for Batman instead of just showing like the panel from the book. He kind of does like a side by side, so it's very well done. So of all people, Spidey fan, you'd probably be one that needs to check that out. Gray Man says, choose a lot of fun. I've only collected the books or the graphic novels though. So yeah, same here, Gray Man. It's a extremely fun book. So now I'm just getting into the individual issues. Let's see. I think I rewrite a couple. Apologize. So JD says, I may go watch Rangers versus Hawks in Chi-Town. Yeah, that sounds like fun, man. That'd be great. Spy fan says, Taves or Kane. Oh, man. I kind of always have to go PK88, man, because Kane is great. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are still talking about hockey. Sam Stangled Wed says, being on a budget sucks. Yeah, it kind of does. We got Bub's Comics saying, go Preds. Gonna drown the Sharks in a minute. So what's going on, Bub's Comics? All right, so got some pretty good dollar finds, I thought, this week through Half Price Books. The first of all show, I'm surprised that I had another copy of this. About a month or two ago, I found this copy, and then I got another copy now. It's the Blackest Night #0. This is the San Diego Comic-Con variant. So I figured why not pick up another one for $1. And if I remember correctly, it might be some first appearance. I think I've even mentioned it before what the first appearance was on this live stream, but I have a terrible memory, so I've already forgot. But nonetheless, very cool book to find for $1 twice. So there's that. Next up, this one's shout out to the great legend. I know he's going to love this one. Probably the next one too, but here's a Lar Fleas #1. Who doesn't love him some Lar Fleas, the greediest lantern in the universe? So I'm looking forward to reading this one. You got Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis on the writing, and Scott Collins draws it. So I like his Flash stuff. Scott Collins. So look forward to that. And then, like I said, Legend will probably like this one too. We got a Detective Chimp one shot. Had to get this just for the awesome Brian Bolin cover. So been collecting a lot of Brian Bolin stuff lately that I find for dirt cheap in these bins. So I figured why not get a really cool Detective Chimp Brian Bolin cover. So there's that. And then actually, like I said, no one in the city for some reason it seems like collects X-Men. So I got some steals and deals on some X-Men this week. First, got an Uncanny 185, which there's a $3 price tag on it, but I guess I don't know if the dude just sees me in there every week or what. But he charged me $1 for an early bronze Uncanny, or I guess a mid bronze. We'll just put it that way. But cool Rogue versus Storm cover, so can't beat that for $1 because I think my local shop probably would charge $10 to $15 for this. So to get that for $1, it's pretty awesome. And then these next two, these had no place in the dollar bin, so I kind of just rescued them, I guess. So I can't, like I said, I can't believe I found this for $1 and no one else got to it because it'd been sitting there for a minute. But I got an Uncanny X-Men 221, first Mr. Sinister, and then here we go. Actually, let me take a drink of water first. And this copy is a newsstand. Sorry, my best New Day impression right there. So got another copy. I think this is my third copy in like 6 weeks that I found of this. So newsstand 221. It's actually in really nice condition too. So I was halfway thinking about like if I get a good quality copy of this, I might get it graded since now for whatever reason I have 3 copies of this I got for really cheap. So great find. But hey, what's 221 without finding issue 222 for $1 as well? So there we go. And this is also newsstand. That was a little better. There we go. So got a copy of 222 early Wolverine versus Sabretooth fight. $1. Can't beat that. I already put it in the nice Mylar bags. So there we go. I was very happy with that because I had a bunch of copies of this, but I hadn't found a copy of this for cheap yet. So I was very happy with that lot. $7 total is what I spent at half price books. So to get this whole stack here for $7, like you can't beat that. So that's why I've kind of scaled back off my eBay shopping and just kind of other stuff like that. Just because I keep finding these cool deals at half price books. So very happy with what I keep finding there. Before I get into the horror comics, which by the way, I was meant to sort out like my top 5 favorite horror comics, and then I got this far. So we're going to show some horror comics tonight, just kind of random stuff. So I do want to get back into the chat before I start this whole big pile. So let's see, we've got Contender and Poor Man talking about budgets. So Poor Man bailing on a budget now. So sometimes I like to call that guy a rich man's comics because he has some good stuff. So he says, yes, bailing on a budget is quite the challenge, Contender. So let's see what else we got here. Go Preds. Go Blackhawks. Sorry, Bubs. We got Brian Spaceboy 227. What's going on, Brian Spaceboy? Glad you can make it, man. Contender's also watching some baseball. He says, go Dodgers. I believe we're looming on the World Series. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge baseball guy. I kind of loosely followed at least what was going on when the Cubs were trying to get playoffs and that stuff. But once they were out of the whole thing, I kind of stopped paying attention. I'll be honest. Sorry. It's bad enough trying to keep track of football when I have to work every Sunday. Let's see. Spidey fan says, new day, new stand. So there's that. Thank you, Spidey fan. Genome says, wow, that classic Havoc cover and $1 bin. I need to get back out hunting. Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't encourage just hunting stuff enough. Because honestly, like, that's what's kind of deterred me from going to eBay and stuff. I find just being patient and dollar bin diving, that's like one of my vices, just going through dollar bins and it's a mind clearing thing for me. I think I said that last week. So it's kind of a combination of patience and fun. So I would absolutely recommend going dollar digging and all that good stuff. So Brett says, nice pickups. Thank you, Brett Hess. Red X gets rid of Larfleet, says Pope Service the first. So I'll keep that in mind just in case I need to know that. We got Midwest Comic Man Paul in the house. What's going on, Paul? Glad you could make it. Okay, Bub says he loves horror comics. I'll try to pronounce horror better. Thank you for that, Bub. And now Bake the Steak says, go Panthers, LOL. And Genome says, Wizard #1 from 91 has X-Men 22 listed at $3. Talk about appreciating in value. Yeah, actually, if it wasn't for the horror stuff, which maybe in the next couple weeks, I'm gonna probably start breaking out some Wizards again so we can look at some hilarious prices from the 90s and stuff. Because I did that way back when on the live stream, and it's been a while. So I definitely want to do that again. And Poor Man says, if you ever in Chi-Town, Seawood, I've got a great place for you to bin dive. Actually, I might be going up to Chicago this weekend, so I might hit you up, Poor Man, see what I cook up. I don't know what my plans are and that stuff, so definitely I might be going to your comic shop maybe sometime this weekend. We'll see. That one that Silver Age Dave highlighted, I absolutely want to go there at the very least. That's one of my plans, maybe. So we'll see how that turns out. Without further ado, and also thanks, guys, 24 live viewers. So far, YouTube hasn't crashed and burned, and it's 8 o'clock, so that's great. So we're going to get into some horror comic books. But I want to start by showing off this thing. Speaking of dollar fines and dollar bins and that stuff, and kind of glad Tacoma's not here because I know this one makes him mad. My favorite dollar find of all time, Sandman, Master of Dreams #1. Awesome Neil Gaiman book. I mean, there is no greater Neil Gaiman book, let's face it. So got this for $1 way back when. So to start the horror conversation, I had the show Sandman #1. Some of the nicest, moodiest art, especially these Dave McKean covers too. Absolutely amazing. This is probably going to end up being my find of the year, to be honest. So very happy with that. So had to start by showing that off, of course. Next up, had to show this one off. I was kind of getting the stuff out. I'm like, it seemed like there was a Green Lantern villain I needed to talk about, and not a lot of people have mentioned him or talked about him at all. But when thinking about this character, it is one of the most creepiest, craziest characters I think they've ever cooked up. And I think it was Peter Tomasi came up with this one. I don't know what's going on in that guy's head to make this character, but without further ado, I present to you the Sinestro Corps member Crib. So if you guys aren't familiar with Crib, he instills great fear by murdering parents of babies, and then the babies end up in basically this cage or crib on its back. So when I think of horror comics, like Crib is one of the creepiest, craziest villains that I think they've ever came up with, especially when he has the power of a lantern on top of just being a monster, basically. So, I mean, just get a load of that cover. And it's, by the way, this one's signed by Pat Gleason and Peter Tomasi. So, once again, Tomasi stuff is awesome on this. And then this was just also in the same bag, so I figured I'd show it. So there's issue 31, and there's Kyle Rayner trying to figure out, like, how am I going to get those babies out of Crib? So very creepy character. Like, I don't hear this one talked about too much. Once again, we got Tomasi and Gleason signing that one. So one of the creepiest books there is, in my opinion. Green Lantern Corps issue 32. And then, actually, I guess 31 came first. So sorry about that. I thought this was 33 for a second. So yeah, and then Gray Man corrected me. Is Crib not female or Crib? Sorry, Crib is Crib not female? Yeah, I believe it's just this like warped mother personality is Crib. So I think I accidentally said he. So sorry about that, Gray Man. But yeah, she is just, or I'm just gonna call it because it's crazy. So there we go. Next up is one of the books I figured I'd have to show off talking about horror. Sorry, now Bub's Comics has me pronouncing it like even more enunciated. So try not to say horror. So there you go, Bubs. We got The Witches issue 1. So we talked about Jock earlier. So some of Jock's just moodiest, creepiest art is in this book and on these covers. So there is issue 1. Got this one signed by Scott Snyder and Jock. So there's Snyder in gold, and then Jock right there. Same thing for issue 2. I think issue 2 might be the best / creepiest cover of the bunch. So it's got like an eyeball growing on your neck. So thought that was extremely creepy. Once again, Snyder, Jock signatures. So very awesome book there. And then after reading this, you will not want to go into the woods for a minute. Basically, the trees will get you. So there's issue 3. Once again, signed by Snyder and Jock. Issue 4. And then I think 5 and 6 came out the day after I met them, or, respectively per month. So there's issue 5 and then issue 6. So if you guys like Jock's art at all, and of course Snyder's writing, of course, we all know how that is. Check out Witches. It should be, pretty easy to find trade. And I've actually seen a couple issues in dollar bins, with the exception of issue 1. So Some of you guys might have, they're not that expensive in my opinion just yet. All right, before I get into the next little bit of the stack, let's see what the chat has to say. Prowler671 says, go football. I love that, man. Yeah, that's a good one. Go football. Here we go. All right. Midwest comment says, ooh, tell me once he tells you. LOL. 24 and only 5 thumbs up. Oh, thanks for the plug, Paul. I appreciate that. Trying to get some more thumbs up. That's cool. Let's see. Baked Snake says, that's amazing. Simon says, Sandman, my game is actually based off of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby's Sandman from the 1940s. I've always wanted to own that. Bubs, it says, Crib is super creepy. And that Bither is creepy as F. So, okay. Pope says, Arsenic Lullaby had my favorite baby crib joke. Very twisted. Oh, we got Eli, Easy E, the game hunter in the house. What's going on, Easy E? Glad you could make it, man. Let's see. Spidey says, which is Halloween special next week? Oh, that's right. They're coming out with a Halloween special this year. I'll definitely have to pick that up. Thanks for a reminder on that, Spidey fan. Airborne Sapper Comic says back, was driving home. Great pickups. Thanks, man. I'm glad you made it home safe. And then Pope C says, don't miss on Scott Snyder's Severed. Oh, I got an annoying story about Severed. Speaking of the wonderful world that is half-price books where I can find books like this, I should have just bought them, just been done with it and found the issue later. But they had Scott Snyder's Severed issues 2 through 7. No issue 1, though. So I kind of got bitter and just left them all in the bin. So I think only issue 7's left now, but a little frustrating. I just like that's the one bad thing about that half price books is you'll find good stuff all day, but you won't find runs of stuff. So I think also American Vampire, they had issues 2 through whatever. So I think there's someone, whoever processes the books, they don't do the best job because this stuff ends up in the dollar bin, but they'll still buy issue 1s and that type of stuff. So, oh well. Beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. We got Miss Hustle in the chat. What's going on, Miss Hustle? She says she was late, but we'll watch back on the replay. So no worries. Glad you could make it, Miss Hustle. Absolutely awesome job running your website. So check out Comic Hustle, the website. Absolutely awesome. And we have What Lurks on Channel X. He says, just getting into Jock. Will comics all together. I will have to check out that Witches. Yeah, absolutely, man. I think you'll really like, especially if you're just getting into Jock. Witches is a pretty good way to get into Jock, in my opinion. Or the Black Mirror Batman hardcover is probably in a soft cover too. So 2 easy ways to get into Jock. He has some amazing stuff, as we discussed many times tonight. The next thing I want to highlight, I don't know if a lot of people really qualify this as a horror comic. But I got the Magic Order #1. I thought I was pulling out all of them, but I just pulled out the first one. But the main reason I pulled this one out is if you guys just like, scary villains and stuff, the evil magicians in this are creepy as hell. Like they can basically just get away and do anything they want using magic. And so far, like the only defense against those people is this broken up family. So if you piss off these evil magicians, you're screwed. So they'll come at you through the mirror. They'll flood and drown you while you're riding in a taxi. So definitely a kind of a creepy book there. And just some other stuff. Figured you guys appreciate the cover, so I pulled out this whole stack. I got a Man Thing #1. Who doesn't love him some Man Thing? Forgot to pull out a Swamp Thing, so we'll have to settle for Man Thing tonight. Now I think I have this whole big stack of comics off of Big Bear Comics on the Great Legend show. So one day I'm going to sit down and read all these, but just some cool 70s and maybe a couple early 80s horror books. Crypt of Shadows #1. Very nice copy I got way back when from Big Bear. I know Big Bear is, selling to you or getting that stuff. He's a top quality seller, so you're going to get some good quality stuff if you buy from him. So this is an example of something you can get from Crypt of Shadows #1. Also got an Uncanny Tales #1. Absolutely cool cover. Chamber of Chills #1. Got a nice dragon on the cover there, so why not show this one? So absolutely awesome. Next up, we got Tower of Shadows #1. So cool cover right there. Nice bit, pretty good, decent quality for 15 center, if I do say so myself. Chamber of Darkness #1. Another awesome, just broody looking cover. I like that guy on the side too. Come on, focus. It's focusing on the reflection. That's nice. So there we go. Sorry about that. There we go. So always love the hidden art up in the top here. And then next up, found this in an antique store not too long ago. I got a House of Mystery 177, Neil Adams cover. This one's a little beat up, but it's kind of one of those books I bought. It was like one of the few they had. And I was just like, oh, maybe if I buy this, like the person will bring in more stuff. Sometimes I do that at antique shops. That's why one of the other reasons I actually bought that Daredevil today, because just to, buy them out so they refill, hopefully, maybe, and bring in some nice stuff on top of this. But nonetheless, cool cover I found in an antique store. So I think that was mostly everything older I had. So we get the more modern stuff I found in my pile. We've got, trying to figure out which issue, they put the issue numbers really tiny. We got Friday the 13th from Avatar Comics. I believe every one of these I got signed by Brian Pulido. They actually signed it down here. So Brian Pulido did the art here. So absolutely awesome. Then there's an issue 3. So who doesn't love some Friday the 13th? So awesome. And then we have to have the issue 2 as well. So there's that. Ones I forgot to pull out. Speaking of Freddy versus Jason, I forgot to pull out my Freddy versus Jason versus Ash stuff. So maybe I'll just show that for a heck of it next week. So Jason's having a, looks like it's pretty hot out there for him. Next up, we can't have Jason without Freddy. So there's Nightmare on Elm Street issue 1, signed down there by Brian Pulido. So very happy to have that. Love these Freddy covers. And then we have issue 2. And then the last one I had in that lot was issue number 3. So looks like Freddy's having a fun day there. Yeah, hopefully they know he's there, I guess. Usually they don't. So let's see what the chat has to say. All right, it says Brett Hess, love those old horror comic covers. So absolutely, I do. Like I said, if there's one thing I could purchase more of, it's that 70s horror stuff. I actually been trying to get some more Phantom Strangers. I have a vacation coming up next week, so I think I'm going to drive, I call it my honey hole antique shop in Terre Haute, Indiana. I think I'm going to see if they got some more Phantom Stranger stuff in stock, hopefully, because I found a really nice quality issue for like $3 over there. So I'm hoping to find more of that. Be nice to have some more Swamp Thing too. I think everybody wants more Swamp Thing nowadays anymore. Really need to get into that Alan Moore run. So that's just some of the things I'm kind of looking out for. Gray Man says, I have Tower of Shadows #1, one of my birthday books, September 1969, first appearance of Digger. That's awesome, Gray Man. So looks like you probably celebrated a birthday last month too. So happy belated birthday, Gray Man. Looks like we got Pope Grammy. What's going on, Pope Grammy? He's in the chat saying hi to everybody. So awesome. We got both popes in the chat. Now I feel like I should be bowing and praying or something with all these popes around. So we got the East Coast Pope and the West Coast Pope. I think that's where they're all from. So glad to have both of you guys. Airborne says, contender, I just got the Dodgers in 6 games. So we're making bets on the World Series coming up. Genome says that wasn't Kane Hodder on Friday 13th cover face. Yeah, not big enough and burly enough to be the Kane Hodder Jason, in my opinion. So Pope says he's tired catching this live. So hopefully I don't put you to sleep and you can enjoy the rest of your night. And then Gray Man says, cheers, mate. So next up, at least remember to pull these out. Last little bit of the haul is the Marvel Zombies. So this is a pretty big deal when these books originally came out. So I actually got, I originally bought this for my comic shop, 1 through 5 for $8. So I thought that was a pretty nice deal way back in the day and still now. So actually, I'm going to rebag these after the stream anyway, because this bag is screwed. So I could tell I bought these in college. So I'm just going to, we'll get rid of that. See you, bag. We'll go ahead and just show them the old-fashioned way without bags and boards. What am I doing? So we got Marvel Zombies, issue 1, throwback to Amazing Fantasy 15, obviously, signed by Arthur Sodan. I think he signed every single one of these at this point. The guy goes to like every single Wizard World, so I just get them every time. So cool cover there. And the story's a lot of fun, too, if you guys haven't read the story. Like, it started off in Ultimate Fantastic Four 22, if I remember right. Maybe it's 21. Whatever that cover is, the 2 Reed Richards was like, and then the other one's like, there we go. There's my impression of a Greg Land cover for the day. But yeah, nonetheless, we get the Marvel Zombies. It's a slightly different Elseworld of the Marvel Universe, basically. And of course, like every other zombie thing, zombies start to infect our heroes. But they do have like a little bit of a hilarious consciousness. So if you're familiar with Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead work, this is the exact opposite of Walking Dead. So the zombies are actually a little bit funny. And of course, it's gory as all can get out. So you got Sean Phillips on the art, and he kills it. So absolutely love these books. So there's issue number 2. Once again, signed by Arthur Sodam. Who doesn't love that Wolverine Hulk cover from Hulk 340? There's issue 3, signed at the bottom. I'm trying not to bend these. Issue 4, X-Men number 1, cover swipe. Once again, signed there. Jean Grey's having a real bad day there. So yeah, there's that. And then the last one, the Wedding Annual Spider-Man swipe, issue number 5. Absolutely awesome. So happy with those. Like I said, I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of Arthur Sodam because he kind of likes to price gouge at cons anymore. So there's that. And actually, do I have a second copy of issue 2? I guess I did. I have them both signed, so I might have to give this away eventually. I didn't realize I pulled out 2 copies of Marvel Zombies issue 2 with the Sodam signature. So I have 2 copies of issue 2. So that's pretty cool. I guess I'll just put that in that pile there, the doubles. We'll go ahead before we get into that. I want to show off Marvel Zombies 2. And actually, I think this is the time I actually got to meet Robert Kirkman. So I got most of these signed by both Robert Kirkman and Arthur Sodam. So of course they have to have a sequel because this thing was a huge hit, mainly based on the covers, of course, but the story was a lot of fun too. So of course that means they had to have a sequel. So here's the Marvel Zombies number 2, issue 1 of 5, signed by Kirkman and Sodam. Issue 2, once again, signed Kirkman, Sodam. So it was really funny meeting Robert Kirkman too when I got him to sign these, because I have like you probably see me wear it on a couple feeds. I usually have like a Marvel Zombie Spider-Man playing poker. I was wearing that shirt that day when I met him about this, and he just like stopped everything and he's just like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" I'm like, "It was a gift." And he made me bend over so we could check at the tag on the back and just say it said like a Marvel official piece of merchandise. And then he texted the picture to Sean Phillips. So I thought that was really cool that Robert Kirkman would like take a picture of me. Like, it's really funny. So there's that. And then we got number 3. Once again, Sodam signed, Kirkman signed. Maybe my favorite of the whole Arthur Sodam covers, issue number 4, part 2, just because it has that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. issue 4 cover swipe. I'm still looking for a good quality. The original version of this, I have a copy, but of course it's like brownish on the sides. But hey, I still love this cover. One of my favorite comic covers ever. So there's that. And then we get issue number 5. So cool Silver Surfer versus Thor cover. I think that was what, Silver Surfer number 4 on the Rainbow Bridge. Maybe it was 4 or 8. I don't own it, so I can't remember. Once again, dual signed. And then this was in the bag too, so why not show it off? We have the Marvel Zombies Dead Days special, and I think this is kind of like the last Kirkman, book that he did with Marvel Zombies. I think after that, I'm trying to think of who took over. I'll probably remember at the end of the feed. But yeah, I think this was the last Robert Kirkman on Marvel Zombies, if I remember right. So there's that. All right, before I get into the last Marvel Zombies I want to go back to the chat because you guys keep blowing it up, and I have to scroll up to see what all you guys are saying. Grayman says, Abel from House of Secrets and Vampire also debuted in 1969 too. Yeah, I think I remember you talking about that on a previous video. Maybe it was today. Like I said, my memory sucks, but yeah, that'd be a cool book to have, is the Vampirella first appearance from 1969. That's a heck of a book. Let's see. We got Pope Grammy saying, "You don't ever bow down. Your NWO for life, brother." So with that, 2, sweet. So there you go, Pope Grammy. That one's for you. Prowler's asking, is Ronda Rousey in WWE now? Yeah, she's actually already won the Raw Women's Championship, so that didn't take long, and she's killing it over there too. So luckily she can actually wrestle. A little bit rusty on the mic, but she's actually getting there. She's starting to shoot a little bit more, and her feud with Nikki Bella has actually been semi-entertaining so far, even though she's probably going to hopefully mop the floor with the Bella Twins at Evolution, which I think that's this Sunday, if I remember right. So maybe you see the review of that coming up soon on Great Legends channel. We'll see. Pope C says, I wish I could be tax exempt. That's awesome, Pope Service. Grimy says, double the popes, double the blessing. Absolutely. Sam's Tangled Web says, yes, Ronda's in WWE. Pope C says he will bless the comics, and you guys are killing me tonight. Grimy says, love that zombie Wolverine versus Hulk. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay, you guys are still talking about Ronda. Pope C says Hulk 340 swipe is top 2 covers other than the Spidey cover, which I do have the other Spidey cover hanging on my wall. It's the second print. It's kind of the swipe of the McFarlane Spider-Man #1. That's the first one I actually bought. So that's probably my favorite of all the covers, probably. Comic Horror Chad says, nice zombie run. Gulak would be proud. Yeah, actually, me and Chad were talking about hashtags for videos. The first hashtag on this video is Gulak, by the way. If you guys hadn't caught it, too, check out Rebel Gaming. We had a blast last night playing WWE 2K19. Gulak was 2-0 yesterday, so I'm happy to report he won one match with the Gulak. That's his submission maneuver. And his other match, he won with the Ghoul Up. It's a roll up that I made up and had won 2 matches with. So now it's a finisher, in my opinion. So the Gulak and the Ghoul Up. So Drew Gulak, he's a great wrestler, one of my favorites. So, all right, let's see. What else we got? Tacoma Comics joining us finally. Tacoma, I showed off your Chew run earlier that you sent me, so thank you again for that. He says, I am on his TV, so I'm sorry about that. Hopefully I'm not going to break your TV. So what's going on, Tacoma Comics? One of the best in the community. Everyone's saying hi to each other. All right. Pope is asking, it's Red Wing? No, it's not Red Wings, man. Blackhawks, baby. So there we go. Like I said, I hope I can watch a game or 2 this year. I missed almost the entire last season. I caught one game. It was like their last game, and whew, they were looking rough. All right, so the last little stack I got to show tonight. One of my favorites out there for Marvel Zombies, and this is Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness, which this might be my favorite thing that came out of the whole Marvel Zombies craze that they had in the late 2000s. So this one is actually written by John Layman of Chew fame. So if you guys like Chew and John Layman's type of writing, absolutely, if you guys can find these, check out Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness, because this is the one where they throw everything at the wall and they go crazy with it. So which they should. Of course, one of the other great SODAM covers here, the swipe of, my X-Men 141 I've got up top. So there's that. Jim Lee swipe right here of issue 2. Once again, I think I seriously have everything Arthur SODAM I have. I think I have it signed at this point. We got issue 3. Awesome. And then issue 4. And then issue number 5. So the only thing about these, I don't know if you guys, I actually have the hardcover for the Marvel Zombies covers, and I noticed in that they had to leave out Ash in every one of these covers. So I'm kind of happy to have these because I don't even think Marvel can reprint these. So might be something to consider to you collectors out there. So maybe 10 years from now, these might be a little hard to come by. So that is my whole horror lot for tonight, I suppose. So let's check into the chat one more time and get to some plugs and start wrapping this thing up because we're approaching that 1 hour mark. We got Great Legends show in the house. He says, damn, that's a terrible Ron Simmons impression. I'm sorry, Legend. So maybe little Jimmy's in the chat with him. I can't quite see little Jimmy in the chat, but I'm going to assume he's in there too. From our Truth's manager / tag partner in the early 2000s, little Jimmy. So there's that. Like I said, we've been having some fun on 2K19. So if you guys have that wrestling game, hit me up because it's been a blast to play so far. He says, sorry, I'm late. I got sucked into that Reggie guy. So I don't know if Reggie's also live streaming out there. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole video yet, but it looks like Reggie, IFBB Pro, and Thanatos had a really cool idea for a live stream where they basically play the game of war, like the card game with comic books. So I definitely want to catch that sometime tonight. That sounds like a really cool concept for, just something different for a live stream. So I'm really looking forward to watching that when I can. Everyone's saying hi to Legend. Of course, with Tacoma in there, someone has to ask, it's Popesy. It's like, are you going to be Walter White for Halloween? So, I'm sorry, Tacoma. He always gets those Walter White references. Prowler says the Gulag is the hold pen at Ranger School. while waiting the next Ranger class to start. Not a nice place to be. So we got to figure out a finisher for Gulak called the Gulag. So we'll figure that out. And I'm going to put somebody in the Gulag. So Great Legend says, wearing Cactus Jack, red and black. Oh, yeah. Usually, it's the time of year I get to wear my Cactus Jack flannels. Maybe I'll cut the sleeves when it gets spring again. We'll see. We got Popcom in the house. What's going on, Popcom? He says, Lex, boom, there's a fist for you too, Popcom. I can't wait to see it. Tacoma says, Grammy. Everyone's looking forward to the Walter White stuff. He says, Tacoma says, need me a hat and some. I'm assuming instead of math, he meant to say math. But Tacoma's going to get him a hat and some math. Got some Walter White slacks and button down last weekend. So I'm going to assume he needs math. So that's awesome. Pope C says, that is great for a t-shirt. Meth, not math. All right. Yeah. So with that, remember, do math, not meth. Might try to copyright that before you guys can run off and do so. But like I said, we're almost at that 1 hour mark. So I'm just going to wrap it up with some plugs. So once again, check out the channel every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here live if I can, with Halloween looming next week, which hopefully that is not next. Okay, good. Next Tuesday is the 30th, not the 31st. So I don't have people banging down my door when I'm trying to do this live stream next week. So hopefully I can get a live stream same time next week. So look out for that. We will also have Comic Core this Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, as usual. You never know what to expect when you're going into the Comic Core. I was told we may have a huge special guest this week. I don't think it's been confirmed, so I don't want to announce anything yet. But check out Comic Core this Friday at 10. The last few weeks have been, in my opinion, stellar episodes. The last episode, though, we had this crummy host who he tried his best, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know, some guy named D Hoodard 19 or something. But we're going to invoke the power of Gulak and have a great episode this week, hopefully. So once again, that's 10 p.m. Fridays. And yeah, like I said, we've been having a great time with the WWE 2K19. So look out for various live streams on various channels of that. Like I said, I might have to actually learn how to try to live stream some games because we've been having a blast. And I know Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out Friday. So I'll be installing that and getting that game as well. See who we can party up with in the community on that. Then lastly, we got JLS Comics. Jesse, what's going on, man? Glad you can make it, even though it's at the tail end of the show. Glad to see you. And Pope C says, later, everybody's broski, shout out to Gomez. So you might owe him trademark rights on that, Pope C. So with that being said, it's about 8:30. 20 live. Thanks so much, guys. It's been awesome with all the live viewers and that stuff. TJ says, don't go. Sorry, I ran out of stuff to talk about, TJ. So Comic Core, Chad says, before I read, I gotta get my best Doc impression for this. I'll be Huckleberry. All right, well, with that being said, well, bye. Oh, yeah, I got to do the Tony Schiavone for a second. I keep forgetting. I wanted to do the new gimmick of Tony Schiavone. Now it's going to be terrible. But anyway, I'm going to do it anyway because it's going to make me laugh later. So, fans, we are running out of time. We will keep the tape machines rolling. Gene Polly's Peter just joined in. But with that being said, the NWO's